Beware of pastoral lords. Okay, what is that? What is a pastoral lord, and why should we be beware of them? 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 3 says this: Be shepherds, pastors. Be shepherds of God's flock that is among you, watching over them, not out of compulsion, but because it is God's will, not out of greed, but out of eagerness, not lording over them, not lording over the ones who have been entrusted to your care. So what is Peter referring to when he says lording over them? Well, he's referring to what I would call a pastoral lord. Okay, and a pastoral lord will always emphasize several things in their ministry. Just like I talked about false teachers, I guess a week or so ago. A pastoral lord will always talk about authority. He will always talk about his authority and how that the people under him, his parishioners, need to recognize the authority that God has invested in his life as the pastor. Okay? And if you don't recognize that authority, then there's no way for you to come into your proper place within the body. And that has some measure of truth. But a pastoral lord will use that to control and to dominate the sheep. So a pastoral lord will not just oversee, but he will dominate. So it's an idea of domination, where he holds the sheep of God in his ironclad fist of control. So he's lording over the flock of God. Another thing that they will talk about a lot is submission. Okay, they will always talk about how that the people under them need to walk in submission in order for the blessing of God to come upon their life. Again, that has a measure of truth to it. But a pastoral lord will use it in a way to dominate, to manipulate, and to control the people that are under their influence. Another big buzzword that pastoral lords use: honor. Okay, honor plays a big role with someone who is a pastoral lord. So those three things: authority, you got to respect my authority. Honor, you have to honor me because I'm your man of God, I'm your pastor, I'm your leader. And submission, you have to submit to me because I'm your pastor, I'm your shepherd, I'm your leader. Again, all of those things have a measure of truth to them. However, when a pastoral lord uses them, the animus behind the usage of those things is to dominate, manipulate, and to control the sheep. A couple of examples of someone who is a pastoral lord. I used to be a member of a church where the pastoral there was a pastoral lord, no question about it. Now that terminology wasn't used, but that is in fact what the man was, a pastoral lord. And I can remember in one service where a particular lady who was also in leadership there, a member there, was supposed to get the man a report. And she was late getting the report to him, or didn't get the report to him on time. And he got up behind the pulpit in front of the entire Sunday service and rebuked the woman for being lazy, and began to castigate the woman for not getting the report to him in a timely fashion. Now, should he have given the report in a timely fashion? Of course. Should he have rebuked her in front of the entire congregation, demeaning her, dishonoring her in front of everyone? Absolutely not. What is the value of that? What redemptive purpose is going to be at work doing that to one of the sheep that are part of your sheepfold? That's a pastoral lord. And I'll never forget, the lady said she went back to his office and she cried and just apologized for getting the report to this man late. That's more of a corporate CEO mentality, and they are all about domination. They're all about control. They're all about making sure that everyone under them performs the exact thing that they want to be performed. Another example that I have of the same individual, same pastor, we were in a deacons meeting, or we would have a deacons meeting, and a good friend of mine who was also a deacon and was also supposed to be a part of that meeting, was in the back taking care of a few things. So the meeting started a couple minutes late. So he got there, and the pastor, who was again a pastoral lord, told this guy in front of all the other men and deacons who were part of that, the deacons, that the reason why we're starting late is because you were back there running your mouth. And I looked over at the guy, and I looked back up at this pastoral lord, and I said, wow, this man is a grown man. He's married with children, and you're going to demean him and castigate him in front of us? Why are you doing that? Again, what is the redemptive purpose behind that? So I just, even the memory of that chafes me and stabs me, because this precious brother was a wonderful, and is a wonderful brother. I still know him today. So that's one thing pastoral lords will do. They will do things to express their domination over the flock. They will do things to express their lordship over the flock, as if they are kings over God's pasture. One of the other things that a pastoral lord will do is they will say things to endear you to them, okay, to put you under some type of manipulative pressure to do exactly what they want you to do. Almost the same thing as false leadership. Again, I talked about that a few weeks ago. This pastor, during a service, told us, his parishioners, congregation, that when he goes to heaven and stands before Jesus, Jesus is going to ask him, the pastor, about us, about our life. And this pastor said, you, congregation, you better hope that I have something positive to say about you. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble with Jesus. Okay, that is absolutely vintage lordship mechanisms. That is absolutely a classic tool of control and of manipulation. So Jesus Christ won't be able to perform his own assessment of my life. He's going to have to come to my pastor and go to my pastor and ask my pastor how I was when I was in the earth. And if my pastor has something negative to say about me, then Jesus is then going to come to me and deal with me because of what my pastor said. Do you see the falseness of that? Do you see the fraudulence behind that? Do you see the control and the manipulation that is being expressed in that particular man? Again, a pastoral lord will express domination. He will hold up authority. He will hold up honor, and he will hold up to submission. Now, we are to walk in submission to our leaders. Again, we are to honor our leaders, and we are to recognize the authority of our leaders. I want to qualify that again. But if you're under a pastoral lord, they will use those three things to control, to manipulate, and to dominate the people that are under them. And there is going to be a lot of damage and shipwreck that happens in the lives of many innocent, precious people because they're walking and being influenced by pastoral lords. A pastoral lord will never really be concerned about fixing the issues of your heart. They'll never be concerned about the damaging at the heart level. They'll never be concerned about the disjuncture between peoples and relationships. They will be concerned about the machine of the ministry continuing on without a speed bump. But when it comes down to actually shepherding and tending to the flock, that's where they back up. Unless an issue is going to affect the machine in its progress and its moving forward. So you have to know whether or not you're under a shepherd or a pastoral lord. If you're under a pastoral lord, you need to ask God for direction and what you should do about that. Okay, because the Lord is very clear. A shepherd will never lord over you. A shepherd who is an under shepherd under Christ Jesus will never perform in a way where he is expressing lordship and dominance over your life. A shepherd will never do that, but a pastoral lord will. And again, the context of this follows through with this great apostle who fell into sin with this Christian singer, because there was some evidences of pastoral lordship in this apostle's life as well. Actually threatening the people that are under him with cancer and with getting into a car accident and all kinds of things like that. Just like threatening the people of God under you by saying, if I don't have something positive to say about you, then Jesus is going to come and get you. Okay, that is it's the spirit of error. That's control. That's witchcraft. That's manipulation. And I don't care who is employing it. I don't care how famous they are. I don't care how cool they are. Whoever performs things like that is not of God. They are false, and they are pastoral lords. And may God deliver us from leadership likened unto that. And may God provide for his little flock, true shepherds that will tend the flock and that will feed the flock the knowledge of the Lord, especially in this hour of such mixture and such foolishness that's going on amongst leadership. Amen. May the Lord God bless you, and may he make his face to shine upon you. And above all things, may he himself give you and your precious family peace. God bless and farewell.